Before I had even started on the idea of making videos around my challenge runs, I had gotten back into this game by playing the GT4 randomizer mod, which helped me open my eyes to the sheer amount of cars in this game. Yeah, I knew there were a lot of cars, but so many more of them were viable than I had thought originally. Having more cars being gifted to you without having to pay some of GT4's wild pricing for a lot of the non-Japanese cars had made replaying the randomizer over and over again super fun. I mean, that's kind of the point of a randomizer to begin with. But one run in particular caught my eye and made me think of a challenge even before I had started the No Used Cars video. I just kept getting German cars in my prizes for whatever I was entering, and before I knew it, I was only using German cars to complete the entire game. So I thought, what if I just make that a challenge in itself, and do a GT4 playthrough with only German cars? I had never really done streaming before, and saw a lot of other people were having fun streaming their challenges, so I decided to give it a try and see if it's something I would enjoy. And just to interact with some of you guys as well, just to, you know, keep things fresh. I went ahead and started on a fresh save file and immediately ran into some category 5 nonsense. Now I've done like barely any research, even though I've had this idea floating in my mind for a while. I just kind of figured that, it'll be funny for me to to tear down this wall. Oh god. We're tearing down the walls of Gran Turismo. East and West will be no more. Oh, this is already a great way to start. Why do I have $110 million? What? Y'all saw me. I didn't even... I swear I didn't even do anything. What? What is happening? Hold on, I'm looking at stuff. Ignoring the credits issue, even after making a second fresh save file just to make sure I wasn't going crazy, I just said screw it and hopped onto the B license just to get my starter Lupo, and got all the B license stuff taken care of without any issue whatsoever. We then found out once the B license was done that it wasn't just the credits that got glitched out. Hey, there's my Lupo. In black. Excellent. But yeah, for those of you who are new, don't ignore the credits at the top. I'm not going to be using all of those. I don't know what happened, just, What? Guys? What? What have I done? What is happening? Why do I have every car in the game? Where did these come from? Okay, yeah, we're on my German car. Okay, there's my Lupo. I had later found out that this was caused by a bad cheat file left over from the base version of GT4, but I was playing on the GT4 online version for reasons that I will make apparent. Let's just get into that now. You can't complete GT4 with only German cars. It's not possible by conventional means. But I am anything but conventional when I'm making these challenges. The two events that can't be done are the Sport Truck Race and the K-Car Cup. My way around both of these events were to open up the database for the game itself and make a German car for each of these events. I ended up going with a Ford SVT Lightning that I renamed to an Opel SVT Lightning, along with a car that did confirm its German heritage. and the K car ended up being an A-Barth that you won from the Sunday Cup with a slightly less subtle approach to its Germanness. I also did play with the idea of just shrinking the Lupo to have its wheelbase fit under the 3400mm limit, but I don't know, just seeing A-Barth and German next to each other was too funny for me. With the Spec DB shenanigans out of the way, we went into the Sunday Cup to acquire our confused little A-Barth. I think that might have been why I wanted one chance to pass, because I don't know if I'm going to do it going in the last corner. It's already got such a gap. Later. Was it dirty? Yes. Was it necessary? I don't know. Was it fun? 100%. Then I was reminded during the stream that I forgot to change my video settings to the proper widescreen due to all the credit nonsense and resetting the game and all that. Yep, we're still in 4x3. I hate it here. No wonder I was complaining about the Lupo earlier. It is wide. There we go. This Lupo looks much more like a Lupo now. Lupo M8. Can we get that in a Photoshop? I might have to do that after this. We'll add that to the list. Is the picture... it's the picture of the M8 going over the crest. I think it was either Lasarth or Bathurst. I can't remember which one. But you got that going over. You got the M8 going over that, and then the Lupo is so wide it's just the background. You can't see anything else over the Lupo. The loop out is the eclipse. It blocks out the sun. I did want to do the Lupo Cup as well to get some extra credits, but for that I needed to get the A license again. More licenses, yay. Nothing fun really ever comes to these licenses, so I'll just skip to the Lupo Cup. I tried to go in raw, giggity, and beat these cup cars, but they had racing slicks on and I couldn't justify it, and I couldn't keep up in the corners. It was just too much for me. But one nitrous kit and a port polish later, and it wasn't even an issue anymore. Corners didn't matter as long as I had nitrous. The stream for that day was starting to wind down a little bit, and we got into the conversation of our GT World Championship contender. Well, there's that. But what other cars do I have available that I think can compete in the World Championship? This would be, well, I mean, I can't use it because it's a concept. I love this car. This car is like my favorite of all time, honestly. That never got actually put in production. But you have to get this guy from the extreme events, so it doesn't make sense. Once I ended the stream though, I went ahead and fixed my save file and gave myself the appropriate amount of credits and took everything out of my garage except from what I actually earned. We then started the next day by taking our confused little A-Barth into the K-Car event just to get that done and over with, and sold what we had no use for anymore to get a Audi S4 from the used car dealership, with just enough money for a weight upgrade on top. We then made short work of the 4-wheel drive challenge, and then I figured out this would qualify for the German-only events, which I took care of easily and got my beloved M3 GTR race car, and by proxy the M3 GTR base, thanks to the Club M event. Now with a decent amount of money, I got my favorite Opel Speedster back, and yes, I did see the comments that you guys said the NA is better than the Turbo because of its better grip modifiers and power band, but I just like the Turbo better, I don't know why. And I also didn't read all that until the challenge was done, so oops. But we then took this little Opel into Spider and Roadster, where there were a little bit of struggles because I forgot to turn the assists off, but once everything was done there, the race was pretty easy, with some tactics thrown in as a saving grace. After all that, we then won and immediately sold the prize car within 2 minutes and swapped over to the M3 for the FR challenge, where it just completely slapped the competition. Now I won back a good amount of my money from the Opel, and the last of the cars I was going to need for right now was a Porsche for the Boxer Spirit event. So I grabbed the cheapest new one I could find and bought a 3400S to end the second stream. But after looking back on the past 2 streams, I kind of wasn't enjoying myself all that well. It was very draining to just talk for 2-3 hours straight, and I wasn't really enjoying myself anymore. So while I do thank you guys for being on the streams if you were there, it just wasn't for me. But now I'm back into my element, in a call with the boys, and after only 30 minutes of restarting my recording session, we had already gotten into it going through the MR challenge and the NA sports races.
Put 1,000 horsepower to a transmission out of a 2CV. I don't think it's gonna work well.
It's just, you just step on the gas just a little bit. It's just end my existence, and then it explodes and kills everybody in a 5-foot radius.
Pretty much.
5-foot radius? That's not a lot.
Well, it's a tiny car. Would you rather me have said like 5 yards? 50
What about
meters, maybe?
500 yards.
This thing is not a 500 kilogram bomb.
It's loaded with a pipe bomb.
What? How did that pass tag? man fails to win his race. All right, I must go now. My people need me. He just presses the button, his whole car explodes.
He's close behind in second, doesn't want the person in first to win, so he explodes his car and kills the first driver.
People talk about spin gate, now it's pipe bomb gate.
Found the source of the ticking. It's a pipe bomb.
It's like, what? You can't.
Alright, I want you to listen to me very carefully now. This is your chief technician speaking. We've detected a time bomb inside your vehicle. If you go below 55 miles an hour, your car will explode. Have fun. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, we accidentally, instead of putting those hards on you wanted, we put super softs on. So, have fun.
You will have incredible 2-lap pace. Just if you spin out, don't.
Don't spin out. You're dead.
We didn't do a Squidward. My Mercedes is green. Green.
Not lame.
Nah, lame. I guess you're going to miss the Mercedes raid. The what? I said, I guess you're going to miss the Mercedes raid.
My headcanon is whenever the guy goes to do an oil change, he's just drinking the oil straight out of the drain plug.
Yep.
But I still needed more licenses. Whoa. 10 times speed, activate! IB and IA license is complete. I then took care of both the SL challenge and the Silver Arrow challenge, winning both the CLK touring car and the 300 SL in a very questionable color.
Yeah.
There you go, the 300 is up. Ew, I hate that color.
Why is it in like f***ing baby vomit green?
don't know.
Bro!
That kind of looks like a pesto basil color or something like that. It's awful. That's so bad.
The SL300 was the last car I needed to complete everything, minus my German truck. So we went ahead and cleared out the rest of the board just to get to the GT World Championship. Now for my challenger. I'm cheating. Again. I've already edited the database to make German cars out of non-German cars. The line for what is a challenge at this point is completely obliterated. As I've been testing different cars in Suzuka to challenge the 142 that the Pescarolo set in my last video, I decided I wanted to use the W12 Nardo, as it's been one of my favorite cars in this game. And instead of 145, only 3 seconds off of a true LMP. Challenger was out of the question, but how do I even get the car? You win the car from the extreme events after beating the GT World Championship. So by conventional means, we weren't getting this car. But like I said, line obliterated. I just said screw it, took out pretty much all my money, and just gave myself the car. I was more curious than anything now of what I could beat in this car. So into the GT World Championship we went, and now into reroll hell. I came up against a pretty stacked field to start with the 2J being the biggest threat. Everything else in here I have beaten in less of a car, so I had high hopes of just getting this done in one shot pretty pain-free. Pole position on Tokyo by even 6 seconds made me feel even better, but once I got into the race, it was apparent what my issue was going to be. This damn 2J doesn't pit at all. I kind of expected a Tokyo to be a net negative because the McLaren runs a no stop as well, so there I was just fine with third place and figured I'd make up the deficit later. Super Speedway, I just cheated again. This car on super hards does not go through tires whatsoever, so I could run 100 laps and it wouldn't make a difference. Hong Kong is where I really started to sweat because usually I can win easily here, but I was burning through my tires a lot faster than I was expecting. And I really didn't listen to myself from when I was here in the first video with the CLK GTR.
Maybe something SpongeBob said will give you some kind of clue. No, not that.
I'm the bigger dumb. Me, I'm dumb better.
No.
With as much power as this car has in a tight street course, it just turns the rear tires into pudding in no time flat.
Ah, barnacles.
I ended up hitting on lap 5 just to try and switch to a softer compound and run a 2-stop instead of a 1-stop, but that kind of gets thrown out the window when the 2J pulls a no-stop. So now we're still down a considerable amount of points, and I really had to throw it into overdrive here. At least with Seoul Central, I could prepare for this and do a no-stop myself and just keep the 2J behind me the entire time off a raw pace. Now I was only 2 points behind in the championship, and we were at my kryptonite in El Capitan. And within the first lap, I was already displaying a bunch of skill issues. Wonderful. The whole conversation in the background didn't really help my situation either. But at the end of all that, another race, another second place. New York, same story. 2J just doesn't pit whatsoever. And I still had to. I cry. Paris, yeah, I mean, you get the idea, no pit again. After 5 laps of Suzuka when the 2J finally passed me, I had just given up hope knowing that it wasn't going to pit again. This wasn't going to happen with the 2J in the field. So, back to the rerolls. Around the first time of me ending the first part of this challenge, I ended up leaving my job and moving. So I kind of took some time just to settle into my new place and get everything situated with my new job. And it ended up being about 2 weeks in between recording sessions for both of these. But since I was a little rusty, I forgot to hit record when I was doing everything, and I only have about 5 minutes of footage from my second playthrough. I ended up against a Pescarolo C30, a Toyota 7, the CLK GTR, Ford GT LM, and a Camaro LM. I got all the way to El Capitan with a slight lead in the points somehow, but another skill issue later and I was just kind of defeated again. After re-rolling for probably about 2 hours and running through everything, Pescarolo was going to beat me on the longer tracks and it just wasn't worth it to me at that point. A couple extra days later, and some renewed confidence, I feel like I had it down. After another hour of re-rolling, I decided to roll with a group of a Chaparral 2D, Camaro LM, Ford GT LM, F1 LM, and the big one, the Bentley Speed 8 LMP. I had no idea if I can match the Speed 8 considering the Pescarolo was a challenge, but I wasn't backing down from a fight at this point. What's the worst that can happen? I have to do this for a 4th time? No. Tokyo footage is somehow missing, of course. We jumped to Super Speedway with me at a 4-point deficit. I pull my trusty tactics here yet again, but it wasn't enough to secure a win, and the Bentley had an 8-point lead in the standings going into Hong Kong. I went to my usual street track strategy by not qualifying and keeping the Speed 8 down in traffic, buying me some time to catch up to first on some daring passes. Within 3 laps, I was in first with the F1 LM buying me some time as I counted down the laps until I had to pit. I did feel a lot more confident in a 2-stop strategy here, and I really did like the pace this car had compared to the Speed 8 that seemed like it struggled the whole time. With the way the pit cycles ended up, I was behind the F1 LM who had run long to try and take advantage of front running. But I took the lead back as they pitted and didn't even look at my rear view from there. Seoul Central wasn't eventful, no stop and a win, just like how it usually is. And back to tied in the points, and oh god, El Capitan. I really do like this track, but I swear it hates me and tires alike. The Bentley just had better tire management here, and even as I tried on blistering tires, there was nothing I could do. I was condemned to second with a very wide margin. New York had been hit and miss in this car, but I feel like with the way things have been going, I could hit. While it was a closer battle than I would have liked, with me trying an undercut and praying that the Speed 8 would pit, it would work in the end as I had more than enough margin to win the race. Paris would be another tire muncher in the same vein as El Capitan, but now even longer, and hopefully that would work into my advantage. It seemed alright at first as I was able to keep everyone behind me for a little while. After my tires wore out and I had to start watching my braking distance, I was slowly losing time. That became more apparent once I had to pit and the Bentley could run in front without this carefully sculpted brick of sharp cheddar in front of it. But with cold tires coming out of the pits, I was able to jump ahead and do a little more front running. I was shocked that I still had a 10-second gap back to the end. I mean, I guess the traffic got to him. But now was make or break. I had 3 races left and I had to win at least 2 of them. But these would be some of the trickier courses left for me, with my lack of comparative downforce. I rocketed off the line quickly and went into first, passing everything along the way as I did my best defense against the charging Brit behind me, which worked well until I had to pit. Now I was on softer tires trying to fight for as much lap time as I could and hoped for a miracle. My miracle was answered. I don't know why you would pit on the penultimate lap, but I don't even care at this point. I was just gonna take the free win and run with it. Now onto Grand Valley with an 8-point lead again. 1 oil change later and I was ready to seal the deal. I was in the lead within 2 corners and again I held firm until pit cycles came around. The undercut hasn't failed me yet, and I was ready to see what this thing could do on softer tires here. But I knew a no stop was going to be a hard sell, and I was proven right in the end. But these softer tires have worn out considerably faster than I thought. These tires at the end were completely scuffed, but I had managed to not skill issue myself out of a victory. And with a 12-point gap in the standings, it was done. And I was back on top in the GT World Championship, this time in only German cars. Lessarth was just a victory lap in the end, so I took some time to test out the top speed of the W12, along with the tire barriers, but still easily came in second in the end. Man, I know I had been gone for a while, and I had went through a lot of writer's block getting through this script. And it had been, what, a whole 2 months in between the first stream and me finally getting this video out. It's, what, July 6th as I'm recording this. Who knows how long it'll still take to edit afterwards, but I still thank you guys for everything. If you haven't already, go watch the other videos. But I still thank you guys for continuing to be here, continuing to support me. It means the world to me. But I don't know if I'm gonna do another GT4 challenge after this. I might take a break and do a couple other videos. I know I had been messing around with doing an Enthusia video, or maybe some other kind of PS2 racers that I had been messing with. But I kind of want to find a new angle for it instead of just, oh, here's generic video essay on video, because I don't know, it doesn't really suit me. I need to find some sort of angle to do with it just to have some fun. But I'll be sure to keep you guys updated as that's coming along.